Hey, what's going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and I know this seems like a completely out of left field video right here, and that's because it is. So that's also why it's going on my second channel here, so I'm kind of going to be addressing two different audiences here. First of all, if you are on my second channel, or even my main channel, thank you very much, and you're just checking out this video, this is just going to be like a one-off video, and maybe if people want another update of some kind, I might do a follow-up update later on, maybe. But this is going to be the only video of its kind. There might be maybe one other. I'm not sure. And for anybody who has just been looking up Accutane, they stumbled upon this video, thank you very much for coming out, checking this video out here. Now, this is completely different than my normal content. You see, on this channel that I'm uploading this on, this is kind of just my secondary channel where I upload random stuff here too, but for the last few years, it's been home to a little series I call Thrifty Gaming Pickups, in which well, if you can look at the background there, I really like video games. I have a PlayStation 2 running in the background, okay? I got a Kingdom Hearts shirt on. I got like a bunch of systems down there. I love video games, so anytime I'm picking up video games or cheap from thrift stores and all that, I record videos about it, I bring in my dog Lily, and I put them up here on the channel. But my main channel, I talk more about video game modifications and helping people out with those modded systems, with tutorials and all that. So what I'm saying is, if you're coming out for the Accutane stuff, this is I make completely different content. I don't make any content related to this, right? This is the first like skincare type video I've ever made, and it might be my only one. And vice versa, if you're coming out here for the gaming content, the modding content, don't worry, this is going to be like the only time I'm going to talk about this, right? But I've been wanting to kind of talk about this here for a while, and so far to the point that I even put up a poll on my Twitter asking, hey, if people wanted a video talking about my experience with Accutane, would they be interested? Excuse me, wow. And point is, a lot of people were saying yes. So I said, you know what, screw it, we're just going to make a video. I have my Accutane diary right here, which is what I made, and it was pretty much almost every day I was on Accutane. I kind of just assembled a Google Doc, and I was talking about my symptoms and what I was feeling and progress and all that stuff, and what was going on. So let's just go ahead and hop into this, right? Now, for background for myself here, and even just as a disclaimer on this, I am not a health expert. This video is not going to be health advice. This is simply going to be sharing my experience with Accutane, and I'm not a part of, you know, Accutane like the company. I'm not a part of the medical field. None of that. I am going to have probably like 2 affiliate links related to products down below in the description, and they are products that I currently use like for my face and all that stuff, and I do really like these products. Am I going to tell you, hey, you have to use these products? Absolutely not, because that is something that you need to consult with a dermatologist over, just like I did. However, I am going to put those affiliate links down there just because those are products that I use and I like, and if you're interested in them, sure, you can check them out. So there's that. Plus, since they're affiliate links, I am going to get a little bit of a kickback, but it's not going to be anything additional to you all. So let's talk about my history on Accutane, right? Or what got me here to this point. So when I had first started looking into this here, right now while I'm recording this, I am 28 years old. And when I started running into acne and all that stuff, I guess I was maybe like 11, 12, something like that. That's when my acne had really started. And the problem is, I mean, it got worse, and then it got better, and it never just really went away. Now, I had been on some prescription stuff where I was, like, washing my face with, like, a Clearasil scrub. Not just a face wash, it was a scrub that worked pretty well. And I was using some kind of prescription, you know, just anti-acne gel. And that worked pretty well for the most part. And I had gotten kind of to that 1-2 punch, and it worked pretty well because over so many years, it just did not, like, things did not work for me for the most part. Then at one point, I was given some kind of Clearasil anti-acne gel. It was over the counter. It was a lot cheaper than the prescription stuff. I didn't have to keep going to a doctor, and it actually worked just as well, maybe even better. So I decided to stick to that. But I noticed when I was around 26 years old or so that I was getting a little more acne than usual. And not only that, but the acne that I was getting was taking longer to go away. So at one point then, around when I turned 27, I decided to go to a dermatologist, and I was looking into what could be done. So first of all, and if you see me looking away, I'm not trying to, be rude. I'm not trying to, not look at the camera on purpose. I currently have another monitor that I'm looking at everything on my document right here, so that's just what I'm explaining. However, pretty much this is what I had done with my dermatologist, where I went there in, I want to say, March of 2020. I want to say it was about March. And I had started getting on this. So first of all, they said, hey, the Clearasil anti-acne stuff, stop using. The scrub, don't use a scrub anymore. All right, stop using that scrub. You shouldn't be scrubbing. You need to wash your face. You do not scrub your face. Now, they had recommended a CeraVe Hydrating Facial Cleanser, and this is actually still what I use to this day. So they were recommending this, and they were saying, in the morning, go ahead, wash your face, and there's some cilantro that you need to put on there. Now, I was also later on, after a few months of this not really working, I was also taking 40 milligrams of doxycycline every single morning. And then at night, I was doing the CeraVe Hydrating Face Wash, which is, like this thing right here, combined with a moisturizing cream or lotion. Get the cream, not the lotion. Get the cream. The cream is the good stuff, not the lotion. I'm going to be very passionate about that. Anyways, I'd gotten those two, and like this, I had to mix with an Accutane. So the problem is, it was expensive. It was making my face look worse. Like, it was getting, they say, your face is going to get worse before it gets better. But this was bad. Like, it was really bad. Like, it was just, my face was like dry, and it was red, and it hurt, and I had a bunch of acne coming in, and it was oily as well too. Like, it was so bad. And naturally, I have oily skin because I'm actually like, I'm half Palestinian, so I get that from my Arab side. Like, that's where that comes from. But it was bad. And that's why I ended up getting all the doxycycline, because I was on just the cream, all the topical stuff for about 2 months. And I hit up my dermatologist and I'm like, this is not working. I need help. So after about 2 months, they gave me the doxycycline, and it helped a bit. But it was still not great. So in August, I went to my dermatologist, and I was a little bit frustrated, and I said, I've been working with this for 5 months, and I know you all said, it might get better before it gets worse. And it's getting like a little better, but the problem is, I came here in March with a problem. We're now in August of 2020, and my face is worse. Like, it's, okay, so granted, it was not great, then it got bad, and then it got awful, and then it went back to being bad. So I said, yeah, we're better than awful at this point, but the problem is when I first came here, I looked better back in March than I do right now, and I've been working with you for 5 months. So I need help with this. And it's just one of those things. It's like, at this point, I was 27 years old. A birthday had passed. I was 27. I didn't want to deal with the acne thing anymore. Plus, I even said, I work on camera. I do YouTube work. I also have a day job as well, but I said one of my things is I do YouTube. And I have a very nice camera. And the problem is when I get on camera, especially with the light and everything, all of my facial imperfections come out when it comes to my skin and all that. And like, you all can even see some stuff right here. Look, I'm even going to point it out. Like, I got, my skin is not perfect right now. I got a little bit of acne right there. I got like, sorry, but it's like opposite and everything. So I got like that going on. I got like that right there. But like my skin for the most part is like pretty damn good. It's just like right now I'm having a few pimples here and there, and I'm going to talk about that, right? So pretty much I talked to them, and they said, well, maybe try Accutane. So unlike other doctors and other dermatologists, I've heard that some people really have to go through it quite a bit to even get on Accutane. Mine was pretty simple for the most part, especially, this is going to sound a little bit sexist, but, there was a saying it, because I am a guy. So I don't have to wait, another 30 days. I don't have to produce negative pregnancy tests as well, too, because if you're a woman, you do have to do that. Pretty much for me, it was like, do you want Accutane? Okay, cool. You can get the medicine today. You can start tomorrow. So pretty much what happened was they gave me some terms that I had to go through on here. They were saying pretty much I could either do Accutane, which seemed to work pretty well, or I can do another kind of topical experimental regimen, which is still experimental, but it seems to work pretty well. But they did say if I'm on Accutane, there's a few things I cannot do. So they said, can't have unprotected sex, can't drink alcohol, cannot donate or give blood. I should not take any multivitamins that have vitamin A, although they actually did not say that. I had to look that up on drugs.com, and I found that there. They did have to draw my blood to get some baseline numbers, and then in a couple months they had to draw my blood yet again, just to see if everything was, like spiking and such, because Accutane does a lot to your body. And one thing is it can spike up your cholesterol. So if it goes up like a decent amount, then it's okay. But if it goes up way too high, like if it's really spiking, they got to get you off of that. So, but the dermatologist is going to handle everything there as well too. And they also said that I had to stop any other anti-acne medications, but I can still use the face wash and I can still use the moisturizing cream or moisturizing lotion. These are the only two things that I could use, but they didn't want me using anything else. And because Accutane is actually a controlled substance, I had to get put into a system for this, and you can only get a 30-day supply at a time. So what happened was I ended up agreeing to Accutane. That day, I went out to a local pharmacy. I got 40 milligrams of Accutane, which meant I was taking one 40 milligram pill every single day. I was taking it in the morning. I was taking it with food. So I was having, like a good breakfast and such, and then I was good to go at that point. So I also want to say I've never been the type of person who has really had like dry skin, aside from like my hands if I'm using too much moisturizer and drying and all that stuff, and won't just like washing my hands a ton. I also have a superpower, which I jokingly tell people. I've never really needed chapstick in my life. You see, I'm the type of person, if I need chapstick, that means that I just need to drink some more water, and then I'm good. Like, if my lips are chapped, that means I'm thirsty. But I've never really had any of those two, and they said, they're like, hey, you're going to get dry, all right? So you're going to need to moisturize, and that is one thing that was definitely big with Accutane. Like, when they say you dry out, that's no joke. That is no joke right there. You are going to get dried out, and you got to moisturize everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. Do you understand? I would even say I'm just joking, but no, I'm actually not joking. I mean, you get really dry, and I was experiencing stuff that I had never experienced before. First of all, I've never had dandruff or anything, and I started kind of developing a itchy, flaky scalp, and something that was kind of like dandruff. And I actually had to end up changing my shampoo. I used to use Head and Shoulders, and then I found out that was actually pretty drying and was not recommended. So I ended up getting some tea tree oil type shampoo, and that is the only time I've ever gone into a Sally's Beauty Supply, and I was definitely getting the, buy one, get one half off of the giant 1 liter bottles. That is some very good stuff. The generic right there, it's a lot cheaper than the Paul Mitchell stuff. However, I got the tea tree oil shampoo with the tea tree oil conditioner. I still use that to this day, and it works out real well for me. And I definitely noticed within the first week, I was getting a lot more acne. Like, it was whiteheads for the most part, really. I was getting a lot of acne, but it would like come and go. Like, new stuff would come, and then it would disappear, and new stuff would come, and then it would disappear. So there was a lot of progress that was going on as well, too. And it kind of felt like my body just needed something to grab onto. Like, it had been fighting for months. Because after maybe 2 or 3 weeks of being on Accutane, like, that was it. It's like my acne, the bad acne, just stopped in its tracks. Now, that's not to say that I went completely acne-free on this, right? Because I was still going through it over a few months. But when it came down to all this, like, my face looked a lot better. Like, and it worked out really well, is what I'm saying. Overall, I was on Accutane I was supposed to be on it for 5 months, because I was supposed to be on 40 milligrams the first month, and I was supposed to do 80, 80, 80, 80. And what that meant was, for my 80 months, they would give me 2 boxes of 40 milligrams. And I was supposed to take 1 pill in the morning, 1 pill in the evening. But I didn't really want to do that, because I'm the type of person, I like to kind of eat during the day, and then I don't really eat anything at night. And that's just how I operate. That's how I do things. It works for me. It's pretty efficient. So I would just kind of have a big breakfast, and I would work with getting my 80 milligrams in at one time, and it worked out pretty well. However, one resource that was really valuable for me was I was just browsing the Accutane subreddit on Reddit, and I'd seen many people on there say that they had, like, that there is, shown studies and such to show that if you take more Accutane than you need, I'm not saying like overdose on it, but if you go over your dosage to a certain degree, that can have better long-term effects for you, for success rates and everything. So I had to visit my dermatologist every month, right? Because you can only get a 30-day supply at a time. And in order to top up on your Accutane, you have to go in there, and every month you are going in. So at the end of my regiment, I even asked, I brought that up, and my dermatologist agreed. And she said, yes, that is true. We do generally see higher levels of success when it comes to taking more Accutane than you need to. So if you want to do that, we can. And that was on my last month, I want to say. So she was saying, you know what, if you want to, you have like 2 weeks left, you could be done. That's it, like 2 weeks and you're good. And that was, I want to say, in January 2021. That was it. So she said, if you want to, you can be done January, and that's it. And then, you know, the next month, you still can't donate blood. You still have to adhere to all this other stuff, but it works out well enough. However, she said, if you want to, I can give you one last dosage of 80 milligrams, and you're going to split it in half. So you're going to take one 40 milligram pill per day until you exhaust it. So that means you're going to finish in March. Do you want to do that? And I said, yes. My logic being that, yeah, Accutane was not fun, like in the moment there, but damn, did my face clear up. And I was like, you know, I've had acne for like 15 years at this point. Not kidding. I've had Accutane for like acne for 15 years. I've already suffered for 5 months just to get rid of this thing. If I have to suffer for another 2 months just to kick this thing in the butt, so be it. Done. We're good. So that's exactly what I did. And honestly, I don't feel like I necessarily needed it, even though I am happy I did it. Because I noticed that those next 2 months, February and March, I had no acne. None while I was on it. Like, my acne ended in January when I was on this stuff. So, like, by month 4, month 5. Because it was getting to the point where, you know, for me, even through all of it, like I said at the beginning, I was still getting a lot of stuff. Then I was getting maybe, like, a few pimples a week, and then like one pimple a week, one every 2 weeks, and like my skin had never been that clear. People had said my skin was glowing, so if you ever see that, like glowing with Accutane, it's no joke. My skin was quite literally glowing with that. I got a ton of compliments over the clarity of it. It was just friends who had known me for years were just like, dude, your skin is so clear. Like you tried to take care of your skin, and we've like seen you with acne and such. It's not like we make fun of it, but like your skin looks so good. What are you doing to it? I just said, you know, it's Accutane. That's what I'm on right now. And even one of my friends recently, I saw him, and he just said, because he had seen me right at the beginning when I was doing Accutane, and I just had, you know, acne all over. And then he saw me now, and he's like, dude, that Accutane killed your acne. Like, that is impressive. And he would even watch some of my videos as well too and send me screenshots and be like, dude, your skin looks great. This, like, whatever you're doing looks awesome. So that was great when it came down to it. Now, I do want to talk about it's not just all fun and games, right? I do want to talk about the bad sides of Accutane as well too, and I want to talk about what I experienced. So first of all, I did not experience anxiety, IBS, mood swings, depression, any of that. Audio hallucinations, visual hallucinations. Thank goodness I didn't describe any of that. I didn't get any of that. What I did have was I had very dry skin. Remember when I told you all that you're going to have to moisturize everywhere? Like hold on. Everywhere? You remember that? Yeah, I had never gone through a moisturizer fast enough. So I pretty much got into the habit when I would get out of the shower, I was moisturizing again everywhere with this stuff. And you're going to need it when it comes down to it, right? So that is one of the downsides. I have never needed chapstick or lip balm of any kind, but for the first time in my life, it's not that I was choosing to use it, it's that I needed it for my lips. My lips were so dry, and I needed to make sure that they were well moisturized and taken care of and everything when I was going through all that. On top of that, it was happening when I was on the 40 milligrams, but especially when I went up to 80 milligrams, I had a lot of physical fatigue and joint pain. Like, to the point where I would be talking with someone, right? Like, I'd be playing games with a friend, or we would be remotely watching a movie together, and I'm sitting on my couch, and I after like an hour of sitting there, I'm just like, ow, oh God, like I would just say something like that. And my friend would always ask, it's just like, well, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, it's Accutane. So after long enough, it was really funny. My friend would even ask, she was just like if I made a pained noise, it was kind of just like a thing where I would make a pained noise. She'd be like, Accutane? And I said, yeah, Yep, Accutane, you understand. Thankfully, all that seemed to go away. So, like, my skin has gone back to what it was. It's not super dry anymore. My lips, occasionally I do use chapstick just because it's nice to use. And any of the physical fatigue and especially the joint pain that I was getting, all that has gone away as well too after I got off Accutane. When you get off Accutane, by the way, you do kind of need to let it get out of your system. So that's why even still for like a month afterwards, they really don't recommend donating blood or drinking or any of that stuff. And I especially know if there's anybody who's of like legal drinking age, they're probably kind of hurting to hear that. I myself, I don't like alcohol. If anything, Accutane actually kept me away from alcohol. I never had a drinking problem, but I'll just be honest, I did drink on occasion. I drank kind of socially, and I never liked this stuff. I don't like alcohol. I don't like the effect it has on me. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like how expensive it is. So it actually got to the point for me, at this point, I am well over a year completely sober, because personally, I don't smoke anything, I don't do any kind of drugs, and I certainly don't drink alcohol. And I think it was before that, but even so, I equate my first date of not drinking to when I started Accutane. So it would have been sometime in mid-August of 2020. And because I knew that I was going to be off alcohol for 8 months, I said, why not go for 12 months? Why not? And then 12 months came and I said, I don't really miss the stuff. I don't think I'm going to drink. So I think at this point, like, I'm not saying I'm never going to, but I don't think in my adult life going forward until I die, I don't think I'm going to really reach for alcohol. I don't care for the stuff, and I don't miss it. And it works out well enough there. Now, even one thing a lot of people have asked about who had oily skin like me was what's going on with that. Because I used to have, decently oily skin. And then when I was doing all the other stuff before Accutane, it was even more oily. And sometimes depending on what I could eat, I would have even more oil generated as well too. So yes, my skin did get much less oily when I was on Accutane. Actually, when I was on Accutane, really into the thick of it, I had pretty much no oil on my skin. Now, I have had that oil come back, right? And at this point, I have been off of Accutane for, I'm recording this September, so I have been completely off Accutane for 6 months at this point. 6 months. And even if you want to include that 1 month of stepping off of it, when you get it out of your system, you could say 5 months. But honestly, the last pill I took was in mid-March. So I've been off Accutane completely for 6 months. This is pretty much a 6-month check-in video, I guess you can say. But either way, when it comes down to that, my oil on my skin did come back, which is good because it is nice to have, some oil on your skin, just, to keep it like, looking good and youthful and everything. But it's not nearly as oily as it used to be. I'd say it might be like half as oily as it used to be. So that was a nice change. Another big change as well too is like, I pointed things out, like you can look like right there, right? I don't have perfect skin right now. I still have some acne. I could have waited a few days to wait until my skin is completely clear, but I wanted to be honest with you all. I wanted to get out my good camera. I wanted to show all this, and I'm not doing any type of, camera tricks, or I'm not doing any kind of filters or anything. Like, this is exactly how I look right here. Dare I say, this might be an even better look than some people are getting as well too, just because it's HD and everything, and it's really in front of this camera. Point being, what I'm trying to say is that my skin is not absolutely perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be. And even the acne I do get, I'll get like some acne here and there, like a few pimples, and then they disappear after like 2, maybe 3 days. And even at the worst of it, at one point I had like kind of like a bunch of acne going on like here and stuff, and I'm not sure what was going on. I don't know if it was acne or if it was a allergic reaction I had, because it didn't really look like regular acne, and it didn't look like a regular allergic reaction or rash. I don't know. All I know is that after a few days I took some antihistamine, and I can't tell if that helped it or if it was coincidental, but it dramatically went down. But as I said, also after a few days my acne does go away. So that is kind of, how it's happening here at this point. So those have been, like the bad side effects I was having and all this stuff here. And overall, my skin is just a lot more clear. And even like my current regimen right now, I'll tell you exactly what it is. And this is going to be where I guess I'll speak highly on, my products that I use. So I really just use 2 things, and I've already shown them to you. Every morning, typically, if I'm like, getting up, or really in the shower, I keep this thing in the shower here. But even if I don't take a shower at night, I have this, next to me, like in the bathroom, and I use it there before I go to bed. I just take, 1 pump of this CeraVe Hydrating Facial Cleanser. clean up my face with some water, warm water, looking good. After that, I hydrate with the CeraVe. This is important, right here. Pay attention. The moisturizing cream. Don't get the lotion. Don't get the lotion. The lotion's really not that good. It's runny. It's not great. The moisturizing cream, the one that comes in a tub that looks like this right here, you can't see it because it's all white on camera because of the exposure. Point is, this stuff is amazing, right? This stuff is great. This is stuff that I like. All right. So this is what I use. It's these two. I even did speak with my I spoke with my dermatologist because after several months I did have to go in for another check-in, and I told her about that, and she said, well, if you want to, occasionally you can mix up your Cleef with it as well too. And I was like, but I don't really want to. I'm fine with what I'm doing right now. She's like, okay, well, you know what? If you found something that works for you and you're fine with the occasional pimple here and there that goes away after a few days, then you don't have to change up. That's all good. So that is literally all I do. I'm not using any type of explicit anti-acne creams or medications internally or externally. I wash my face, I hydrate my face or moisturize it, and that is it. And occasionally I use chapstick on my lips, but I'm not really counting that for what it is here. Now, when it came down to actually getting the Accutane, at first I wasn't using like the name brand Accutane. It's all just really generics from what I understand at this point. At first I was using CeraVe, and full disclosure, I do have insurance and such, but 40 milligrams 30 days of CeraVe was about $130 after my insurance. I had to pay that out of pocket. Then I ended up switching from CeraVe to Moisturizing because I started going to a different pharmacy. Now, I did ask if switching the brand would change anything, and they said for the most part, no, it's going to be fine. So after the first month, I switched to Moisturizing, and everything was fine after that. However, I had to look into something because I was like, this is going to be expensive because I paid like $125, $130 for 40 milligrams. So I'm going to have to double that at this point. And thankfully, there was actually a pharmacist, like a pharmacy that my dermatologist worked with that was able to apply coupons and get special deals on things. So they were able to do it so that as opposed to paying $125 or $130 per box, they were able to apply a coupon which made it be no more than $75 per box out of pocket. It was either 75 or 65 bucks. Point is, I at that point was still paying the same amount, but I was paying $130 US, $130 US dollars out of pocket for two boxes, two 40 milligram boxes per month of Accutane. Plus I had to pay for, the blood work that I was doing, and I had to pay for the dermatologist visits. Welcome to the US. That's how it goes when it comes to it. So really what I'm saying here is, this is not cheap. It's not like this is going to be like 20 bucks or something. Like there was money that went into this skin with the dermatologist stuff, with the Accutane, even with the prior stuff that I had used. And of course, the skincare products that I use now. Like money did go into this. But when it comes to YouTube stuff, especially if I have a camera like this thing's kind of going to be a moneymaker. And it's funny because I even brought this up to my dermatologist. I said, I get on camera and my camera's so good that it shows everything. And she was just like, well, the good thing is, in editing and all that, you can change a few things, you can hide stuff. And I'm like, that's not why we're here. I am not here to talk to you about editing tricks and things that I can do on camera to hide my acne. I need this fixed, please. But she didn't mean anything bad by it. She was just, she was all cool about it. But even she, with all this, she was incredibly impressed with my progress. She would see me, like, I would take off my mask because this is during COVID and all that, and she would just be like, wow, that looks amazing. Wow, you've made good progress. She'd pat me on the back, be like, good job, that's awesome. And I know, yeah, kind of like talking to me like a kid or something, but she was just like so excited to see my progress and just like see my reaction when I was telling her about people's reactions and how I was experiencing it as well too. And really just, even the side effects, the pain, the fatigue and all that, I was okay with it because I knew it was all going to be temporary. And I said, again, if I have to suffer for 5 to 7 months to kick acne in the butt permanently, hopefully for the rest of my life, then so be it. Now, even when it comes to Accutane, this is not something that you just start and stop. Really, it's designed that when you take it, you have to take it according to your body type, your weight, and everything. And when you start a round of Accutane, you have to finish it. if you can't finish it because of like a major health concern or something, then that's understandable. But it's not like you just take a little bit of Accutane. No, you have to get on an entire regimen, and that's why I said it was adjusted for my weight. So you have to take an overall dose to get all this in your system, and that's why it was calculated as it was for me. And mine was pretty aggressive as well too. As I said, I did 40 milligrams the first month, and then I did 80, 80, 80, 80, and then my last 2 months, which were optional, I chose to do those ones, I did 40 and 40. So that's how it worked for me. Oh, and maybe the last thing as well too, I want to actually talk about my eyes. So nothing bad about them, don't worry. But in the midst of all this as well too, I realized that as I'm getting older, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I was trying to play, I was trying to play South Park, the second one. That's it, I'm not going to say the name. I'm not going to say the name, the second RPG. I was playing it on my Switch, and I was playing it on my TV, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, okay, I know that this is like, this game is on the Switch. I know the Switch is not like the biggest powerhouse, but there's no way the game looks this bad. So I put on some glasses I had, and I was like, oh, this looks so much better, and oh my god, okay, cool. So I realized it'd been a few years since I'd gotten an eye test, and I said, maybe I need to start wearing glasses more regularly, because before, it was very much, well, your eyesight is fine enough for now, and if you can tolerate it, it's okay, but if you feel like you need glasses, put them on. But it was getting to the point where I realized kind of from just doing day-to-day activities, I started needing glasses. So I said I need to update my prescription, and I want to get contacts as well, too. So right now, I'm actually wearing contacts. Now, when I went to the optometrist, they looked at my eyes, and they said that I had dry nerve endings. And I had no idea what that meant. He explained the nerve endings to me, and he was saying, you got to make sure, they're moisturized and everything, or else your nerve endings can die off, and you can have some issues and stuff. And he was like, your eyes are really dry. They're like really, really dry. Do you have to use eye drops? I said, no. Are you having really dry, itchy eyes during the day? I said, no. And then he was asking, he's like, well, no, I think I asked. I said, well, I'm using Accutane. And he kind of just had an aha moment. He's like, that's it. Accutane is going to dry out. I said, yeah, it dries me out everywhere. Would that dry me out here? And he said yes. So what he recommended was actually getting something called an eye compress, which looks like a face mask. And this is what I'll tell you, all right? You can get it off Amazon. Third thing, I'll have a link to that down below in the description as well, too. It's like $10, $15. It's pretty cheap. What you do, it's just a thing full of beads. You take it, you put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and then you put it onto your face and you lay down for like 10 minutes. And it's just like this hot heat right there. Now, it's recommended when you do it in the morning, or you do it sometime where you're not going to use stuff. So pretty much you have to put this on, and then for about an hour afterwards, you cannot wear contacts, and you should not be sleeping. You need to actually be like blinking and using your eyes and all that. So that's why if you do something like you do it first thing in the morning, and then it takes you 2 hours to get ready, do it first thing in the morning when you wake up, do your morning regimen, and then after, like right before you leave or something, you put in your contacts and you're good to go, something like that. Or if you get off work, don't do it right before bed, but if you get off work at like 6 p.m., get home, if you're wearing contacts, take out your contacts, do the eye compress, don't wear contacts for at least an hour, and, just switch to glass at that point, just something like that. The point is I bring that up because I ran into that. Like, I found that out because I went to an optometrist, because I got contacts. So if people have dry eyes, then it might be good to do a compress like that as well too. But you might want to follow up with an optometrist on there too. Just check with them if you're going to be doing something like this. However, if you are looking for an eye compress, I will just link the one that was recommended to me from my optometrist. And they even said there's like, you can either buy one from us for like more money, or you can wait 2 days, buy it off Amazon for a lot cheaper. We're not going to blame you if you buy it off Amazon. That's how it worked for me. But there we go. That was really about it for my Accutane adventure. I actually thought I would say a lot more, and I think I did say a lot. But yeah, overall, how was my Accutane experience? It was dry. It was physically achy. It was not easy, mind you. But then, really, there was a few things that kept me going. The first thing was I knew that a lot of the pain I was going to be experiencing, actually all the pain, was going to be temporary. Second, I saw the progress, and I was very happy about all that as well too. And third, I said, again, I've been battling acne for about 15 years at this point, and I'm tired of it. If I have to suffer for about 5 or 7 months to kick this thing in the butt, then I'm absolutely going to do it. So that's kind of the way I looked at it as well too. Again, anything that was really bad, I told you all the worst symptoms I had there, but anything in regard to like anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, hallucinations, things like that, I did not experience any of that. Not to say it's not going to happen to you, and that's something that you need to talk with a dermatologist about, and any good dermatologist is going to warn about that, but that stuff just did not happen to me. So at this point now, as a 28-year-old male, so I've gone through a couple birthdays doing all of this here, my skin is finally where I want it to be. Yeah, I have like occasional pimples here and there, but for the most part, it looks good. Like, I'm happy with it. I invested in myself, and I'm feeling good, and dare I say, I feel confident and happy in my own skin for the first time in like a long time. A real long time. It was a journey getting here, but it's been great. So there we go. That's about it. That's been my experience on Accutane. And, I'll even ask this as well, too. If people want maybe like a 1-year update, like, 1 year after being on Accutane, something like that, let me know in the comments section if you want something like that, and we might make it happen. If not, that's all good as well, too. This could be just a one-off video, but I'm even thinking for that, too, if it's just going to be, like a, hey, this is kind of going to be like 6 months after Accutane, my thoughts, and the other one's going to be, 1 year after Accutane. That might be like my last one there. We'll see. So let me know. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well, too.